Good day and welcome to this weekly market update brought to you by ETM Analytics and Treasury One. With me today is currency strategist Andre Salia. Andre, we enter the 6th week of the war in Iran, and I still think President Trump thought it's going to be Venezuela, it's going to be in and out, and then Bob's your uncle, he's got Iran, and we're going to go on with our lives. But it's proved to be a more trickier. I think he's bitten off more than they can chew at this moment. And for now, today, 7 April, is like D-Day, according to President Trump. He's going to start blowing up bridges and other infrastructure if they don't come to a deal. Iran says they don't want a ceasefire. They want a complete stoppage to the war. Trump's given 15 points, which Iran has rejected. They've come up with 10 points, and they can't make a deal yet. Although, according to some of the Pakistan mediators, there's a Islamabad accord that they're close to signing, but nothing's been confirmed, nothing's been pulled over the line. What more can you tell us about what's happening with the current situation in the Middle East?
Richard, thank you very much. You've really summarized it very well. The uncertainty prevails. The problem with the uncertainty that prevails and the fact that we're in the 6th, almost 7th week of this war, it simply means that the impact of the war, economically speaking, is wide and far spread throughout the world. Very few countries is escaping this. And the longer that it takes, the higher and bigger the impact, economic impact, is actually becoming. What is also changing in the world is that the way it's handled by America and specifically by the president is that old alliances is being broken down, and you're not seeing a NATO-American situation in unity anymore, which simply means that if you look at the Strait of Hormuz, there's certain ships that goes through. I think you've in our discussions mentioned that you guys are tracking it, and then you're now looking between 30 and 35 ships that's going through compared to the 0 that went through. So that's at least some good news, but it's still a lot less than what it should be. And as I say, that impact is devastating for the world economic growth, for consumers, for the ability to spend money, because they are spending more and more of their cash on inflated fuel prices, which leads to inflated other prices of food stuff, etc. So now we're keenly awaiting to see whether we are going to sign something, whether we are going to get some sort of a agreement between Iran and America and Israel, so that we can get a stoppage to this war and more clarity of what goes on, because we certainly can't afford, economically speaking, that this goes on for another couple of weeks and another couple of months. The impact would just be too devastating on the world. So yes, we are faced with this ups and downs. We believe that 8 o'clock tonight, Central Eastern Time, that Mr. Trump will say something. So let's hope that it's something positive, and let's hope that it is acceptable by the Iranians and that we get closer to an end of this whole saga. But in the meantime, the world goes on, and there is economic data that comes out, and there was figures coming out of America. Just tell us what happened last week with non-farm payrolls, etc.
Yeah, Andre, the world data still comes out, but the world sort of puts it on the sideshow, doesn't really look at it. But US non-farm payrolls came out a little bit better than expected. 178,000 jobs that was added, and 150,000 was expected, so slightly better. Unemployment still around the 4.3% in America. So all things being equal, it still looks very positive in the US at the moment. The inflation that supposed to come through from higher oil prices and gasoline prices and fuel prices is not being felt yet. That's probably only starting to see in the April figures. That will only, in the March figures, it will get somewhere in April, and going further into May, it will play a role. But we've seen with the data that the markets now is predicting that there will be interest rate hikes instead of cuts at this stage, which I think the market hasn't discounted fully yet. But data, besides this week, we light on data again. The market just goes on, doesn't care about the data. It's all about the headlines that they read in the news about the Middle East. So yes, there's data, and normally non-farm payrolls is like a big market mover, but there's been very little written about it as well. That takes us to the Rand, which is also waiting for all the new headlines. Big headline that there's going to be a deal, the Rand strengthens. A headline that the war's escalating, the Rand weakens. And sort of we oscillating around the 17, then at 16.75 when there's a deal, back at 17.20 when there's no deal. Are we still happy in that trading range? And what can take us out of that trading range?
The Rand's a little bit like a hot potato, it depends on what you say. It's in the one hand or the other hand, it's down or up. But you keep on changing these things, and that is keeps on changing as things are being said by Iranians and as things are said by Mr. Donald Trump. So for the moment, I'd say that we're in a 1675, 1725 range if things stays as it is. If Mr. Trump sends up a lot of his airplanes and bombs, and he starts bombing desalination plants and energy plants and so forth, then we will most likely change to a 17 to 1750 trading range because of that. And if there's an announcement of an agreement that is imminent to be signed, then we will likely break the 1675 and move into a 1650 to 17 trading range. And depending on the lasting of the agreement, further lower and in figures. And if the war escalates, then the 1750 side will be under threat again. So that's what we have. But for the moment, 1675, 17 and a quarter, as things stand right now.
Andre, I say thank you for that. We'll be back next week, and enjoy the short week. Cheers for now.
Thank you very much, Richard.